Hey everyone, I'm back. Welcome to Wall Street to Vegas. In this video, I'm going to recap my 10th trip to Vegas. Stick around to the end if you want to see details on how my play accrued tier credits and how those tier credits will help me get future comps out in Vegas. I'm going to try to go over it in a lot of detail. But first off, I just want to go over just high level thoughts on the properties, thoughts on my play, thoughts on the virus out there, the impact of the virus on Vegas, and my overall, just trip comments. So first off, I stuck to my budget. That's a win in my book. I budget my money out there, and I stuck to my budget. I did not hit the ATM. Of all my trips out there, I have hit the ATM one time, and that was a night at Harrah's where a bunch of friends were on a roulette table, and I had my money back in my room. I still had budget left in my room, but we weren't at the hotel we were staying at, and I didn't want to walk all the way back to my room for more money. So that one time I did hit the ATM in Vegas, and that's something I'm always proud of, is that I stick to my budget out there. So we stuck to our budget. I won $320. I didn't really win $320, but I came home with $320, which is better than coming home with zero. I don't expect to come home with any money. I budget it on purpose to spend it and have fun with it. But anytime you can come home with money, that's great. So what am I going to do with that $320? I opened up a Roth IRA with that $320. That's going to let me, use that account as an example for other content later on the channel. So stay tuned for that. And, most importantly, I had lots of fun. So let's get into my thoughts on the fun next. All right, so what did I think about my basically 4 properties I spent the most time in? First off, in order, Cosmo. The Cosmopolitan Hotel and Casino is just one of the best there on the Strip. I did not have very good gaming results this time, and we'll go over that more here later on in the video. I'll show you examples of my play and what I earned there. But the Cosmopolitan is still one of the best places on the Strip. The room and obviously the view can't be beat, and the property itself was full of life and had a lot of fun. I just did not have very good luck there this time, and that happens. So those are my overall thoughts on Cosmo. Paris. This time Paris was basically the only place outside of Wynn where I had that one good machine hit that I did any kind of, what I would consider winning. Had a lot of fun, got a lot of play, hit a lot of bonuses. Still overall lost, but the Paris is where I had the most gaming action this time. The Four Queens, I ended up staying there at the Four Queens that night. I went downtown for the Circa grand opening, and the Four Queens is still my favorite downtown casino. If I go downtown, I will be staying at the Four Queens again. A lot of fun, it's old history. So Four Queens still my favorite downtown. And now let's talk about Circa. Circa is a fabulous resort. I spent about an hour and a half there on grand opening night. It was packed with people. The casino is very simple to navigate. I would describe it as a big box, a 2-story box. All around the edges were the foods, restaurants, stores, shops, bars, and then all throughout the center of each floor is cram-packed with games. If anything stood out to me about Circa is how many games they have. They really packed a lot in to a casino there. And so that sports book, it's going to be amazing for you who like to watch sports, gamble on sports. That's not really my cup of tea, but man, if you enjoy that, Circa is a place for you. So I really think Circa is going to, probably reinvent downtown because, I didn't go to the pool there, but they have an awesome pool. Just being that new with new rooms coming downtown right there on Fremont Street, I think to compete, the other casinos down there are going to have to do some renovating, put some money into their properties to, compete with the Circa there. So it's going to be a great addition to Fremont Street, and I'm sure it's just going to drive even more traffic to Fremont Street, which is great for the city overall. So those are my high level thoughts on the places I stayed. Now, what are my thoughts on Vegas in general during this pandemic that we found ourselves in? All right, so what are my thoughts on what we're going to call the Roni situation on Vegas during this time? Sadly to report, there's just less of everything right now in Vegas. And that's why originally I really didn't want to go during this time. I like to experience the full uh, palette of offerings that Vegas gives you, because it's endless when you're out there under normal conditions. But with what's going on, it's understandable that there is less of everything, but you just don't realize it until you get out there, right? But I mean, when I say less of everything, that's what I mean. Food options. I was hungry that first day. I go down to Cosmo. They usually have a food court. Block 16 has like 7 restaurants in it. And literally, the sushi place was open and a chicken place was open. Those were your 2 options. So instead of 7 options, you had 2. All the restaurants had, shorter hours. So like I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning because I'm still here on Texas time, and wanted a coffee at 5 in the morning, and the restaurants weren't open yet, which is understandable, I guess. Normally they're open. Normally they're open 24/7. But anyway, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I had Starbucks was my only option, which that's fine. I love Starbucks, but it was hard. I had to go to 3 or 4 places before I found the Starbucks. Is my point. And under normal conditions, you wake up at 3 in the morning and you got coffee options everywhere. So food options at Paris, the same way. They had one place in their streets section open when I went there for lunch, and it was pizza. Then you saw in my video at the Caesar's Palace, the hamburger place that I go to was closed. So I settled for pizza again. So food options are just less of right now. So if you want to go to Vegas right now and eat, you're going to need to make an appointment and go during operating hours. There's schedules you have to adhere to now. Gaming, less options, just across the board. Every other slot machine's turned off. So if you find a bank that you want to play on, there might only be 2 or 4 open. Well, those 2 might be taken. There's less slots available. Table games, they only allow 3 people to a table now. So you can't fit 5 or 6 on a table. And they raised the minimums. Minimums used to maybe be $5. They were $15, $25 because there's less people playing, so they've raised the minimums on these tables. So there's less gaming options available. And there's less energy in the vibe. There's less energy and less vibe in all the casinos right now because there are less people. So you hear less winning, less hollering, less cheering at the sports books. So when you're walking around, the energy just isn't what it normally is. Even when you're walking the strip at night with less people, there's less people out having fun, having a good time. So just sad to report that, right now, Vegas is still Vegas. You can still go out there and have a good time. But there is just less of everything, less shows. I don't think there were any shows open right now. No comedy shows, no, theaters, no concerts. So right now, Vegas is definitely struggling as far as having, full options available to you during this time. So if you want to go experience a less crowded Vegas that still offers you the options to have fun, then go. But me personally, I'm going to wait for my next trip, whether it be next year or the year after. I want to go back when I can go down and get coffee at 5 in the morning wherever I want. So that was just my thoughts on the Roni situation in Vegas. All right. So this might be a little bit in depth, so some viewers might not be too interested in it, but I wanted to show you the details of how someone earns comps out in Vegas. And it doesn't take a high rolling budget to earn them. So we know that my budget for this trip was $1,500 plus $100 from my dad. So we had $1,600. So what did we get for those $1,600 by tracking my play and using those players cards? Well, we earned tier credits for every dollar that goes through the machines playing slots. Different casinos, they have different multipliers. But with my budget, and which I stuck to my budget, here at the first place, Cosmo, we earned 432 tier credits. They give you, it's every $2.50 earns you a tier credit. So there at Cosmo, I had $1,000, $1,080 of coin in, they call it, right? So that was what I got at Cosmo. While I was at Caesars, I earned 519. Now there, a tier credit, is $5 of coin in. So I played $2,595 through the machines there at Caesars. MGM, I didn't do much gaming there. Mostly did it all on free play, if you go back and look at that video. But I earned exactly 100 at MGM. They are same as Caesars 5, that's $500 of coin in. At Four Queens Circa, I kind of combined those two. I earned 104. 5 times multiplier is about 520 of coin in. And at Wynn, that one night and probably like 45 minutes of gaming there at Wynn, it's $1 per point there, so it's really easy to track. But anyway, I had 141 points, so it's $141. So from the $1,600 total that we gained, used the game, I had $4,836 of coin in. And these casinos, they look at these tier credits and they're like, hey, when this guy comes to Vegas, he's gonna put roughly, $1,000 through our machines in his trip. Well, $1,000 earns me free rooms midweek, sometimes on the weekend at a lower end property. Now, my budget was, total $1,600, which that's a lot for some people. But for, a lot of the people out there earning these comps, they spend that in an hour, right? So, while my budget of $1,600 was, quite a bit of money, and I save up, all year long for that and go out there about once a year, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a large budget to most people that go out to Vegas. So my whole point here is you don't have to have a, huge bankroll to go out to Vegas, enjoy yourself, have fun, and at the same time earn comps that include free rooms. Sometimes I have a comp that, gives you $25 free play, or a comp that says, here's you a $50 resort credit. You can use it at the spa, or a dining credit, or whatever, So go to Vegas, use the cards, stick to your budget, and then, they will send you offers based on your play. And if you can't give them that much play, they might only give you a discounted rate. Instead of paying, $100 a night, you might get $80 a night. But just if you're going to Vegas, sign up for a player's card and start earning comps so that can make your next visit a little bit cheaper. All right, so where does this trip rank of my other 10 trips? Because I break this out on all my trips. I come home and log it into the spreadsheet just because that's what I do. So this I'm going to go into further detail next, but this was basically, if you want to look at it as far as churn on your bankroll, this was my third worst trip. I had $1,600 and got $4,800 of play, which I churned my bankroll 3 times. So on the next segment, I'll compare that to my best and worst trip. All right. So up here we have 3 trips. My most recent trip, and then what I classify as my best trip and worst trip. And how do I do that? I see how much play or churn I can get on my bankroll. And the thing about all these trips here, they're all 4 days, and my budget's always $300 a day. So that was roughly $1,200. Is my budget. Here a little bit more on trip 10, and obviously you see more here on trip 6, but that's for a reason, because trip 5 was my best trip. So on trip 5, I had my roughly $300 budget, per day budget, and I had a lot of fun, a lot of wins on that trip. And my coin in was $8,300. So I churned my budget over 6.9 times that trip. You know, I earned a lot of tier credits. I hit a lot of, mini jackpots, let's call it. I've never hit a hand pay yet. But on that trip there, I had 19 hits of over $100. And I think 4 of them were over $700. So there, it was playing dollar machines, $3 a bet, and I'd hit 3 red 7s, or whatever the symbol is for a little jackpot. I'd hit it, right. I never hit the big jackpot to get over $1,000, but I hit a lot of little bitty jackpots, and I just kept playing, right. And on that trip, I brought home 1,700 more than I brought with me. So that it was a winning trip, which I've had I think 4 winning trips, something like that, 3 or 4. So I just saved all that money, and I was like, man, I'm gonna slaughter Vegas next time. I'm gonna have more money, and we're just gonna go after it, right? So the next year I went out there and I just brought double the bankroll. I didn't bring it all. I just said, hey, I usually spend $300 a day. Since I won last year, I'm going to bring $600 a day. And this was a trip me and my brother went on together. And, looking forward to the trip. We just got back winning trip, and we're going to kill them. And we mimicked everything, right? We stayed at the same hotels. We did 4 Queens one night and Planet Hollywood 3 nights. Well, as you can see here, it was my worst trip. Just because you have success one trip doesn't mean you're going to the next trip. So I brought $2,400 with me, and I got coin in of $5,605, which I didn't even churn my bankroll 3 times. That trip there, I was on the dollar machines again, trying to mimic the prior year's fun and success, and couldn't hit anything, right? But I mean, it was still fun, and I didn't mind losing because it was budgeted, right? I go out there for fun, and so this trip, I came home with $100 in my pocket. I refused to lose that last $100, and I didn't even play anything at the airport. I said, I am bringing home $100. So, so trip 5 was a 6.9 churn, was my best trip. Trip 6, which was from this trip's winnings, I only got 2.3 churn. And then so this most recent trip, which I just went over in more detail, I brought 1,500, 4,800 coin in. I churned it 3 times. So you can see that it didn't allow me too much churn this time, and that's mostly because I think Cosmo, which I spent 2 days at, I just couldn't do anything at Cosmo. Once I got to Paris, I had more luck at Paris. So anyway, that's how it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I'll be back for you, Vegas, and we're going to get a hand pay one of these days. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to making more Vegas videos in the future, but it is going to be a little bit. So bear with me, and comment below if you want more details on comps or how I factor any of this information. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.